Just had a very nice conversation there with an elderly Finnish woman in Finnish about. I was listening. There was a woodpecker in one of the trees, so I just kind of stopped because whenever I hear that tap tap tap, I always play this like little game with myself. You know, like, can I actually see the woodpecker that's making all of the noise? Anyway, we've got a lovely blue sky day. Oops, I'll turn the, because it is amazing. On another beautiful day. It's a bit windy, but I probably definitely will go for a swim later. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. So I don't know about you, but you know, as I get more experienced in these things, I kind of understand more and more and more how important this divide and rule strategy is to the big club. You know, that if they can get us distracted and fighting amongst each other, amongst ourselves rather, then they can do more or less whatever they want to do because we're distracted. So one of their big divide and rule plays that they're using at the moment is this, you know, issue of migration. You know, record numbers of people coming to places like Britain on rubber boats and living in hotels, and kids in state schools, NHS healthcare. People can't get dental appointments, and you know, people at the same time are being asked to pay higher taxes. You know, to fund extra welfare spending caused by the deliberate decision to import more welfare claimants. So basically, the angle that I'm taking here is like, why does the big club have a welfare state? You know, is it to provide a safety net for ordinary plebs that they hate? Well, obviously the answer is no. That's not what the welfare state is there for. The welfare state is not there as a social safety net because politicians and their masters care about little people like us, and you know, they want to provide retirement pensions, free healthcare at the point of delivery, and all of that jazz. No, I put it to you that all aspects of the welfare state, I'm just going to step back into a shadow here, is there as a divide and rule operation, because if you have those generous welfare payments and NHS and all of that, first of all, that creates an incentive for people to come to move into your country to gain access to these payments that they've not contributed towards. And of course, that's going to cause resentment, isn't it? It's going to cause division between people. So my big idea for you today is that the welfare state is there as part of a divide and rule operation. It causes deep-seated resentment between people that pay the bill and people who are then beneficiaries of that bill. And it's not like, as I keep on saying, it's not like the big club cares about you, and that's why they set up the NHS, and that's why they had retirement pensions. It's all about creating division and resentment. Like, imagine a world where there was no NHS. Imagine a world where there was no state education. I mean, indoctrination. You know, and there was no death service. Imagine a world where there was no welfare state, no tax credits and all of that. In that world, there would be first of all, there would be very little incentive for people to move countries in order to live off the backs of other people. But then secondly, anyone who did move would be moving because they believe that they've got skills that are going to be good enough to earn a living in that country. And you know, basically, as I'm trying to get at here, is that the purpose of the welfare state, it's a divide and rule operation. It's designed to create resentment, and at the moment it's working perfectly. You know, if you think about you know, what people should be talking about at the moment is let's call it the medical experiment, and all the coercion that took place surrounding that medical experiment. So what they've been able to do is just sort of deploy race hate, understandable anxiety about the fiscal and social implications of mass migration, and causing massive divide and rule. And it's distracting people, but that's what it's supposed to do. While Starmer just goes ahead and assembles his, or tries to assemble his digital police state, and uses various scams to try to get people to self-censor. I'm going to carry on walking now. On the same theme, something else that I've been thinking about is, you know, this two-tier policing stuff. I'm going to show you the lake now. It looks absolutely beautiful. The sun's, it's the morning. It's what, 25 past 10 local time, and the sun's actually shining from behind me, so makes the trees look absolutely fantastic. So yeah, this two-tier policing malarkey, right? What's all that about? You know, is it because Starmer favours one group over another because he really likes, I don't know, a particular religious group over another group? I would put it to you that Starmer doesn't care a jot about any of those things. What Starmer does care about is creating division and getting us to argue amongst ourselves. So two-tier policing, what it's designed to do, it's creating divide and rule again, isn't it? Between different ethnicities that he's managed to bring into the UK using the carrot or the strawberry, you know, you put the carrot in front of the donkey, don't you, or something, to get it to move. That's what the welfare state did. It encouraged mass migration, and it made possible the multicultural society that's kind of destabilised Britain. Not that I have anything against people from different cultures or whatever. It's just the fact that multicultural societies are less cohesive. It's, you know, if you were a corrupt politician and you wanted to use divide and rule as a way to get away with things that you shouldn't be able to get away with, then then what would you do? You would invite people in. You would create a diverse multicultural society where there's very little social trust and stability. Job done. And this is what's happening with this two-tier stuff. You know, basically all that Starmer's doing here is that he's deliberately winding you guys up. And, you know, it's not to say that I don't find two-tier policing objectionable, because I do, but I can also see the wider picture, which is that this is being done for a specific purpose, which is to foster resentment towards people who are getting away with it. So what I do want to talk about is what I think is a very, very interesting new take on a phenomenon that's often discussed but is misunderstood, and that topic is like a mixture of, you know, what the government does and the desire on the big club to govern us through divide and rule. So there's one other issue as well to talk about, which you know, about the welfare state. Again, it's not there because they care about you. The welfare state is fundamentally in breach of natural law, because, you know, according to natural law, or 10 Commandments for that matter, shouldn't steal other people's stuff. It's immoral to steal. So if you look at what the big government model involves, including the welfare state, it involves stealing, doesn't it? Because basically what socialists say is that the rich must pay more. And do the rich have a choice? They don't. If the rich refuse to pay what the government says they owe, the government will fine them. If you refuse to pay the fine, ultimately they'll throw you in a cage, won't they? The state will use violence. So paying tax isn't a free choice. It's not something that people do voluntarily, and they're forced into it by the entity called the government that has a monopoly over the use of legalised violence. And then, you know, the type of people that support the big government model, many of them do so because they hope that they will be a beneficiary of the looting that was undertaken by the state. So what I suppose, what would you call that? You would call that was an accomplice to theft, wouldn't you? You know, somebody who believes that they're also going to benefit from somebody else stealing the proceeds. They're going to benefit from some of the proceeds. So the government also likes the welfare state because it compromises people. You could almost say that the whole process of so-called democracy, you know, the tyranny of the majority, is it's compromising people. And my belief is that things will never improve until people realise that the current model that we've got, which is based on coercion, violence, or the threat of violence, is utterly immoral. So, you know, people are using their free will to go along with that system. So, you know, the way that the world works is that if there's a majority of people who are complying with evil, well, then we shouldn't be surprised when the world looks fairly evil. So that's all I really want to say today. One last thing, you know, when I was talking to this elderly Finnish lady who was walking a dog, we were talking about this lake. It's called Enäjärvi, and it's obviously a freshwater lake, but it's only about a couple of kilometres from the sea. And what's happened over the last, I think it's been 2 years now, is that a colony of cormorants have come. And I don't know if you can see at the end of the lake, there's an island with what were birch trees, and the cormorants kind of nested there. And they would fly off to the ocean, go and eat herring all day, and then come back and roost on that island. And on this rock you can actually see the cormorant poo. And basically it's quite acidic, is the cormorant poo, and it kind of killed the island. The cormorants have now, they appear to have gone, they've migrated away already. But this lady was talking about how there were also eagles that were basically diving down and picking up the small cormorant chicks, you know, because they were obviously, there was breeding pairs as well. And there's probably, I don't know, about 1,000 cormorants on that island, something like that. So, yeah, I don't know, quite interesting really. Finns are very, very into their nature, you know, and people will travel quite long distances to do things like bird watching, or they're fascinated by nature. And you know, since I've been here, my interest in nature has grown, and I love the watching the seasons unfold. It's fantastic, and there's nothing the big club can do about that. And this world that was created by God is amazing. It's insanely beautiful. And that's all I want to say today. So God bless.